talking about user testing, it's important to have prototype of what you want to test. So you can't just take something out of thin air and just talk about, hey, I'm developing this CRM application. What are your views? It won't work. So you actually need a product in some form. It could be even a paper prototype. So for example, even a paper, you can draw something in a paper. It's called paper prototype. You can actually say, this is what I'm going to develop. Would you like to, what's your view on this? What do you think is what's your view on this? Would you be able to use it? How would you use this? What are the functionality that you think are available for you now? So all these questions you can ask, but you can't just ask views there. So prototypes really help you get to that stage to be able to do the testing. Prototypes in a nutshell is basically the working models of the solution. They're not like wireframes. So there's a big difference. We've seen wireframes before. We've actually had a look at the prototype as well. Prototypes actually have got life in them, in the sense you could actually navigate from one screen to another screen. You can click on a button. It appears to be working and it's actually trying to fetch the data. Sometimes it's not. So I think I was giving an example of the financial planning product we were working on. We did not actually create the actual product in .NET because its initial stages, we are still thinking about it. So we created that in Flash, in the Macromedia Flash, and then later it was taken over by Adobe. So Adobe Flash was the one which you used to create the whole thing. It gave the effect of when you click on the button, it gives you the effect that it's actually doing something, but it's not. So, but to the user, it gives us impression that it's actually navigating. So that interaction, the presentation, the navigation, the content, everything, you're actually trying to set the experience of the product using. So these are mostly dynamic. As I said, it's not static screens like wireframes. It's dynamic. It has got that sense of interaction, clicking something, and then that is kind of loading the page. All of these could be achieved through a prototype. Some of the prototypes could be done in Java, .NET. Nowadays, all of them, they're called high fidelity prototypes, as we discussed. So you can reuse them. You can use the existing prototype and then build on the top of it, just trying to write a few more code blocks and then perhaps add more features and then ship it as the actual product, which is the high fidelity prototype. Whereas the low fidelity one could be kind of a Flash one or something, which we cannot use a Flash application to deliver something which is of a very high scalability requirement, for instance. So it should be perhaps done in Java with some, or even .NET or some other PHP, Python, whatever it is. So then in that case, we can't use that Flash application to step up to the next level. So we have to dish it and then start afresh with the coding in the different platform. So that's called a low fidelity prototyping. So anyway, going back to the prototyping, we've got these different types of prototypes, and then it really helps to get the feedback from users early. So instead of, you're not waiting for the feedback, for the insights, and for their opinions, for their preferences, the performance. You're not waiting for it to come at the end of the product development, like your waterfall model. It takes 2 years to develop an application, a supply chain management application, for instance. After 2 years, you take it to the vendors and they say, oh no, we use SAP and it doesn't fit with SAP, so we can't use it. And all your 2 years of effort, the time, the money, everything goes for a toss. Instead, try and develop something and then go take to the suppliers that it is working and say, hey, this is not the full one. This is not the full product. We are working on the product. We are going to replace the order management or the purchase management application with this one. Would you like to have a go and see how it would, really work in tandem with your SAP application or Oracle Financials application or Oracle S&D, whatever it is. So then they'll say, okay, fair enough. Well, this is good. This is good. Oh no, I think this page should not come here, because after this, when you click on the finish order, then it should actually send an API, call the API from our system, and then you should load our pages. You should load the branded. We can white label it for you. We can brand it in your own branding with your own logos, but then you need to send the API, so then we can load the page with your interface. So these kind of discussions happen only after they get to see the whole the actual prototype. Otherwise it gets really difficult. So that's where prototype gives you the kind of early feedback instead of wasting a lot of time all through. So again, there are two or three different types of prototypes, which are, as we discussed, formative prototype and summative testing. So you can use different types of prototype at different levels. whether it's in the formative stage, as and when it's being done. It's not complete. The development is not complete. The modules are not complete yet, but still you want to get an idea from the users as to how that would look like. Then you would use the prototype to at that stage. That's called formative. It's formation. It's still in the process of formation, the product. Whereas summative is when you've got a module ready, or when you've got a feature completely developed and ready, then you actually kind of take it to the customers, the users, or stakeholders, suppliers, vendors, whoever it is that you want to test, that the real users. And then you can do the summative testing with those